You know that feeling when everything just clicks? Your mind is sharp, your mood is steady, your body feels like it's firing on all cylinders. That's not luck, that's what your body is capable of every single day. Now, I've looked into a lot of fish oil supplements, and honestly, most of them are mystery sourced, overprocessed, blasted with heat, and packed with synthetic add-ins. But this one is different. Omega-3 Rejuvenate from Big Bold Health starts with wild Alaskan salmon and cod, sustainably caught from some of the cleanest waters on the planet, and then it's processed at low temperatures to preserve what actually matters. We're talking about real omega-3s, naturally occurring vitamins A and D, and pro-resolving mediators, or PRMs, that help your body balance its own immune response. What does that mean for you? Clearer thinking, more stable mood, and real nature-based support for your heart and immune system. No shortcuts, no synthetic nonsense. And it was developed by Dr. Jeffrey Bland, a true pioneer in the world of complementary health. If you want to feel the difference, go to bigboldhealth.com/Hoffman. That's bigboldhealth.com/Hoffman and use code Hoffman for 20% off site-wide. Once you feel it, you'll know. Welcome back to today's Intelligent Medicine Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Ronald Hoffman. This is your weekly opportunity to send questions to us. Please send questions to questions@drhoffman.net. We got some great questions in our inbox today, which are prompting an interesting discussion. We have a question about peptide therapy for fibromyalgia. So the first part of the question was this listener professes inability to get a hold of the peptides because they're too far away in California or something like that. They have to.
Martin says the problem is that all the compounding pharmacies in our home of Murrieta, California, don't provide.
They don't provide
those two peptides.
So don't think of, we live in a virtual world now, and pharmacies, are all over the country, and the way you get a hold of stuff is via the internet. Okay. So let's forget about driving to your local drugstore. That's a very kind of 1950s thing. And just get on the internet and you will find, they're falling over each other to provide people with these peptides. Okay. So let's talk about peptides. What are peptides? Well, peptide's a very general term, which means a small string of amino acids, which could be, 2 or 3, or it could be dozens. When it gets really long, a string of amino acids becomes a protein, and then they're folded together in some kind of complicated configuration. So what are some peptides? Well, glutathione is a peptide. GLP-1 drugs. That's a peptide, right?
It's a peptide,
semaglutide, it's a peptide. And also insulin is a peptide. So there's just, there's myriad examples of peptides in nature. So why are these peptides so hot? Well, mostly they're hot because they are compounds that are found in nature. So most of them, not all of them, some of them are synthetic. Some of them are, quote, natural. They're found in nature. And as a result, there's not a big push by the pharmaceutical companies to patent them because, maybe they could get a use patent, but, what they like to do is they like to take a natural molecule and tweak it. And then they hold the patent in a safe for, however many years they get patent protection, make a lot of money. But natural compounds, not so much. So the thought is that these are sort of these hidden treasures. They're natural. Why is the pharmaceutical industry, not offering them? Well, another reason the pharmaceutical industry is not offering them is because they're not that well studied or vetted. Their efficacy is not that clear. And therefore, they don't feel it's worthwhile to go down that very expensive investment pathway to come up with a product that ultimately doesn't work or, crashes and burns. So there's this aura of these are kind of renegade and counterculture, and RK Jr. loves them. And look, he could do like 70 pull-ups and he's 70 years old and he body is totally shredded. And I happen to know from, insiders that not only is he in favor of them, he's all in on them. He takes those things. Some of them are growth hormone releasers. And that could make you look really awesome. The question is it healthy long-term? Is there a risk in taking these things? There are side effects with things that release growth hormone. And it also, here's a sad fact of nature, is that we find that in nature, there's an example of animals that are deficient in growth hormone. They are what are called pygmy mice. They're itsy-bitsy tiny mice, but they live about 60% longer. Why? Because their cells are not stimulated with growth hormone to undergo many cycles of cell replications. They say that, you only have so many cycles of cell replication, and then it's like game over. And if you accelerate the cell replication and, your organs get bigger and your muscles get bigger and all that stuff, you're overworking your system. And ultimately that could curtail your longevity rather than extend your, you could be very healthy and then just drop dead at 66. That's okay. You look awesome. And so
die young, stay pretty.
Right. Yeah. That whole thing.
That's sort of a song.
Okay. So the ones that he's talking about are BPC 157. I'm less familiar with the others. BPC 157 is something that is thought to be reparative and restorative. It's taken by a lot of athletes. It's taken by a lot of, people who want to stay in the fast lane, golfers, people who, want to continue running. They have an injury or, they want to, have a 100-mile-an-hour serve. And then, so it's best taken as an injectable. All right. Orally, it's questionable whether it really gets absorbed. The studies that validate it are very sketchy. A lot of the reports on it are anecdotal, and there's a big placebo effect when people pay, $110 a vial and inject themselves with something over a period of time, and they say they got better. Okay. Well, they might have also gotten better with a drug called tincture of time, as in TIME, not THYME, tincture of time.
Right.
The passage of time, and these, injuries heal over time. So I've tried BPC 157 for various injuries. I didn't find it helpful. It could be that the type of injuries I had were more structural, and a tear isn't necessarily going to mend with a kind of a healing medication. But I have to say I'm kind of skeptical. And
does it matter how long you're taking it, or is there a required period of time to be taking?
Well, you might need to take it from, you can always say, you didn't take it long enough, you didn't take it frequently enough, you didn't take a strong enough dose. The other concern is the quality of the products, because these are products that are compounded. There's sometimes quality control issues. Some of these things come from China. They're labeled for research purposes only, which is kind of, weasel words for this is a sneaky way that we can get it onto the market. It's a gray market. Right. It is not highly regulated. You could get something that is not pure, not contaminated, or frankly weak and adulterated. So I got to say, I'm not the biggest fan of the peptides, but there may be some people who, I know that some of our guests on Intelligent Medicine have talked about peptides, and they recognize the limitations of peptides. They think they have better knowledge about how to be discerning about the, where to source them and how to use them, and, how to address safety concerns with some of these things.
Okay. All right.
Oh, and so then the question is, could this help fibromyalgia? Well, any number of them. I mean, you could go into a hyperbaric oxygen chamber. You could try acupuncture. There's any number. I mean, there's a lot of these things are not
different other things
demonstrated to be a slam dunk. But when you're running out of options, you could try these things. What I would recommend for fibromyalgia is get the book From Fatigue to Fantastic by my good colleague, Dr. Jacob Teitelbaum, who I just interviewed yesterday. We do quarterly interviews because he's a wealth of knowledge. The subject yesterday was adrenal stress and adrenal fatigue.
Yeah.
But
there's a lot of that going around.
What's interesting is that she had some kind of accident or injury, and now she's
Bike
achy
accident.
all over. And this is actually sometimes a trigger for inflammation throughout the body. Not just you have a local injury, but there's fragments of your body's own protein that go into the general circulation, and the immune system goes, whoa, what's going on here? And it starts to set up a generalized autoimmune reaction and inflammatory response. And that you could be off to the races with that. That can last far longer than it takes to heal the injury.
Wow. So Martin, best of luck to your wife. Let us know how she's doing if you do come across it or find other ways to get to it. Now that everything.
Well, there's
is
a step-by-step protocol in From Fatigue to Fantastic that is worth worth investigating.
Right. Okay. All right. And thank you for that. A reminder to everybody, questions@drhoffman.net is the email. We love your questions and we love your topics of interest or any debates even that if you take if you find something we're saying as not aligning with something you know,
we'd love to hear from somebody who's had a great experience with healing with BPC 157.
Yeah.
What's your experience? Did it work for you? Did it not work for you? Because there are people out there who listen to intelligent medicine who are trying these modalities. Again, I would suggest that I don't think oral does very much. It's not that oral may be reparative directly in the gastrointestinal tract. If you have ulcerative colitis or Crohn's disease, that might be a use case for that. But to expect that it gets absorbed and go systemically to your site of injury it's probably best to inject it directly.
Yeah. The other peptide that Martin mentions, if anybody out there has used it or had experience, is TB500. TB500. So, okay. Thank you, Martin. Oh, we've got an email here from Dennis about niacin and LDL cholesterol reduction. Dennis says, you commented recently that while niacin does lower LDL, studies have not shown a corresponding decrease in cardiac events and or mortality. What are other methods of lowering LDL doing that niacin is not?
Well, so let's revisit that. Is that niacin is interesting, is that high dose niacin, of course, it causes flushing. It can be uncomfortable, and too much continued use of niacin can cause liver abnormalities and even, pretty serious liver injuries. There was a guy named Kowalski. I forgot his first name. I tend to call him Stanley Kowalski, but that's from Streetcar Named Desire.
Streetcar Named Desire, right.
Marlon Brando with the torn T-shirt. Stella! That's right. That thing. But the guy's name was Kowalski, and he really made a big splash in the 80s because the book was called The 8-Week Cholesterol Cure. And he propounded the use of niacin for lowering cholesterol. This is when cholesterol started to come into vogue. Well, the problem was that some people got overzealous and they got liver injuries, and there was a class action lawsuit, and that wasn't good. But pharmaceutical companies made niacin. One drug was called Niaspan, which was a time-release niacin, and that helped to reduce the flushing.
Wow.
And so then they found a compound that was a prostaglandin kind of compound that they combined with a niacin, and they did a big trial. And the nice thing about niacin is that not only does it lower LDL, but it raises HDL.
Yes.
That's perfect, right?
Yeah.
On paper, that's perfect. Well, what they found was that there was no reduction in cardiovascular risk with that thing, and they abandoned what they thought was going to be a lucrative drug combo. Which is a form of flush-free niacin. So one of two things could be happening is, niacin does lower LDL. It could be that niacin lowers LDL, but it doesn't fix something else that
Yeah.
contributes to cardiovascular disease.
Mhm.
The other thing is that niacin may lower LDL, but it may have some otherwise harmful effects in terms of cardiovascular disease.
Mhm.
Now, we're not talking about the little bit of niacin that's in a multivitamin. That's not going to
No.
lower your cholesterol. It's not going to be
No.
harmful from a cardiovascular standpoint, although there have been
Yeah.
some studies that put a little bit of a knock on vitamin B3 for cardiovascular. I remember some studies on that. But that you probably have to take high dose over a sustained period of time. So that didn't
Right.
work. And other things that lower cholesterol. So, for example, statins lower LDL, but they also
Yes.
have an anti-inflammatory effect as well. They're kind of like
Yes.
expensive aspirin
Mhm.
in addition to
Mhm.
lowering LDL. So the things, not everything. So another example from a different realm is like fluoride. Fluoride really
Yeah.
dramatically increases your bone density when taken as an oral pill. It doesn't just strengthen the enamel of your teeth, but it actually increases your bone density, but
Oh
it
my.
makes your bone more fragile. And so it
Oh.
doesn't decrease fractures. On paper, you look like, oh, you've got great bones, but they're fragile bones. So there's some things that seem to work.
Yeah.
We have to look at the real endpoint, which is, are people having less cardiovascular events, or are less people dying? Ultimately, is really what we're concerned with. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, it might be less cardiovascular events, but people could be getting other health problems.
Right. Right. Okay. Interesting. So, all right. Besides that, I'm thinking also of the Lobazas and the Heskies,
Well,
those other things.
fish oil,
besides
I think,
statins.
beneficial. There's also bergamot, which is helpful. Red yeast rice is a statin. It actually
It
is
is
a
a
statin.
statin.
It's kind of a natural
Right.
statin. There's also, I think, nattokinase has now been shown to lower
Yeah.
cholesterol and improve lipid
Yeah.
profiles. And of course, we know what really does it, which is diet. Diet really
Diet.
works. Yeah.
Absolutely. Get rid of the sugar, the refined carbs, all of that. Get rid of the junk. That
Yeah.
helps with making not just,
Oh,
even if the LDL stays high, you get a better particle.
I gotta share this with you now. This is an interesting sidelight. Is the carnivore diet
Yeah.
has been shown to be helpful for ulcerative colitis, right?
Yeah.
And it's interesting because it's a low fiber diet, but maybe we're getting rid of certain foods that are fermentable carbohydrates that irritate the gut. So anyway, so this guy did an interesting thing. He was a guy in pretty good shape. He had ulcerative colitis. He wasn't overweight. He wasn't diabetic. He wasn't hypertensive. And he had pretty normal cholesterol. I think maybe a cholesterol of 200 or so. And he went on a pure carnivore diet, which really helped his ulcerative colitis.
Yeah.
And he was on it for 7 years. But he was alarmed because during that time, his cholesterol went up to, get ready for this, over 700. And his
Wow.
LDL was like over 400 or 500.
Yeah.
Like way over what would be considered okay. So
Right.
7 years into it, he said, well, I'm kind of a little concerned. I don't believe so much in the cholesterol hypothesis, but I really want to check because this is getting me nervous. He went and he had a coronary artery calcification study,
Yes.
like the arterial calcification evaluation.
Yeah. EBT
Imaging,
heart scan or CT. Yeah.
I actually think he had it done with even more accurately with the angiogram.
Angiography. Okay.
And lo and behold, he had zero plaque. So what it tells you, there is a there is a type of person who is a lean body hyperresponder. Okay, so they go on a carnivore diet and they get sky high cholesterol, but because they're metabolic fit, they're not hypertensive, they're not obese, they're not diabetic, they have really good blood sugar, it doesn't affect them cardiovascularly. Now, you saw the opposite when you were at Atkins. You saw people who were overweight, hypertensive, with a high cholesterol. They went on the Atkins diet, they lost weight, and their cholesterol got better.
Yeah.
So that type of diet, which is a very low-carb ketogenic diet, can raise the cholesterol of these lean mass hyperresponders, but not dangerous because it's about metabolism. It can improve the cholesterol of the fatties.
Right. Now, saying that, however, oftentimes, and there is a significant percentage, Dr. Huffman, I know you've seen this over the years, where the cholesterol does get better in terms of ratio, where the HDL is increased,
yes,
triglycerides are lowered, but oftentimes the LDL just stays high.
Yeah.
And that still bothers people.
I know. But they're better off metabolically. They're better off metabolically.
Yes, they're better off metabolically.
Yeah.
Hands down. It's just a much better
Which is an
number
important consideration.
higher.
I mean, this is actually what happened to me. I'm a case study. Is when I used to be on a macrobiotic vegetarian diet. When I was first on the macrobiotic vegetarian diet, my cholesterol was about 125 and my HDL was like 33.
Wow.
I flipped the switch completely and I consumed, all kinds of animal protein and eggs and, full fat dairy. And my cholesterol, it's not uncommon for it to be, 210, 220, 230, but my HDL is 75, 85.
Yeah.
The ratio is actually, I mean, if you do the math on what's initially, 125 divided by 35, the ratio is better when it's 220 divided by 70, right?
Yes,
it's like a 3-to-1 ratio as opposed to about a 4 or 5-to-1 ratio.
Right.
Right.
So even if LDL does go up, so does HDL. So the whole thing is a wash, so to speak.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what we're getting at.
I'm not saying that you should be oblivious to a cholesterol of 700. No.
Of course not.
Yeah.
That's worth investigating. I would want to know if my cholesterol was 700 if anything was going on. Sure. Oh my gosh. So that's really something. Yeah.
All right. Speaking of things to investigate, let's allow one of our sponsors an opportunity to share an important message with our listeners. So here goes. Folks, please listen up. You know that feeling. You're exhausted, but your brain just won't quit. You're staring at the ceiling, watching the clock, dreading the morning. Here's something that actually helps. It's called Kyolic Specialty Series Sleep Mushrooms Plus. And it's unlike anything you've tried before. This isn't some chemical sleep aid that leaves you foggy and dragging the next day. This is a clean botanical formula built around certified organic reishi mushrooms grown on real farms, not in a lab, combined with valerian root to help you fall asleep faster and stay asleep longer, L-theanine to quiet that racing mind, and Kyolic Aged Garlic Extract, one of the most trusted wellness ingredients available for circulation and stress support. It's vegan, non-GMO, no gluten, no dairy, no artificial anything. Just 2 capsules, 2 hours before bed, and you wake up actually rested, not groggy, not out of it, just refreshed. Kyolic Sleep Mushrooms Plus from Wakanaga. Learn more about this and the entire Kyolic Mushrooms Plus line at kyolic.com. That's KYOLIC.com. Look for Kyolic at natural health stores nationwide and online. Thanks for listening. Thanks for supporting our sponsors. They are what make intelligent medicine continuing free resource to you. And I got to say, I'm really excited about our lineup of sponsors, and we're picking up another couple that I want to get the word out about. So we're going to have a fun summer helping people.
Wonderful. Oh, we've got a great question from Jill about toilet paper.
Okay. Bring it on. Bring it.
Jill is asking, should we all be using unbleached toilet paper? I think we should be using everything unbleached, in my opinion. Anything that's touching your body, your skin.
Well, you know where this really came up is the unbleached tampons.
That's
tampons. That's really important.
Sanitary pads. Oh, especially tampons, right? Because internal bleach and everything.
Yeah.
You want the unbleached tea bags. You want the unbleached coffee filters. You want...
Yeah, I can get the brown ones.
Flour.
I get the brown ones. Yeah.
Get the brown ones, right. Unbleached flour, if you're having flour, that would be the way to go. So,
that's a little different. It's with the flour, it's like
you're eating
what you're missing, and with the unbleached products, it's what you're getting when it's bleached. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
It's a little different. So I just looked it up, and it says it's an AI overview. Okay, like I'm.
Yes, that's what comes up now all the time in any search, right?
Sorry, teacher. Yeah. I used AI for this book report.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, unbleached toilet paper is widely considered better for your health and the environment. That's an important thing, too, because you're dumping all this
It
stuff
is.
into the environment.
Yeah.
Unbleached paper skips the harsh chemical bleaching process, meaning is typically free from chlorine compounds like dioxins
Yes.
and
Dioxins.
synthetic chemicals like PFAS.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Also, it lacks artificial dyes, fragrances, and bleaching agents. And so dermatologists sometimes recommend it for people with skin problems. And,
Okay.
some people, they might
It's
experience,
harsh.
rectal discomfort, rectal itching. Sometimes it comes from inside. It also could come from
Yeah.
outside from the products you
Right.
apply externally.
Mm-hmm.
Go for it. And it's better for
Mm-hmm.
the environment anyway.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, Jill, make sure to get the best quality anything that you're either ingesting or using on your body.
Mm-hmm.
Because.
And,
And it's
and
good for the environment too. That's good.
here's another piece of it. Never use the New York Times, especially the weekend section, because all the
Oh my.
colors and dyes, very bad.
All that ink. I know. Oh my
Don't
gosh.
do it. Don't do it.
Jill, thank you for that question. Okay. Yeah. We've got an email from Judy. Hi, Dr. Hoffman and Leyla. I'm a 67-year-old woman with thinning hair. I've always had fine hair, but it's getting thinner as I age. My thyroid function is fine. All my labs are good. I try to eat healthy organic as much as I can. What are your thoughts on minoxidil and finasteride for stimulating growth? Also, I'm on Coumadin. Is there any problem with that?
Yeah. Minoxidil, I think, is pretty good for hair growth. It has the potential to stimulate hair growth. And, the one side effect that I've heard from minoxidil is that, it gets absorbed a little bit. It is a blood pressure medication. And to the extent it gets absorbed, it might lower blood pressure a little bit. An interesting way to take it, I mean, a lot of the products are topical, but you can take a very small dose orally and 2.5 milligrams. The blood pressure dose is like 50 milligrams. So it's not going to lower your blood pressure significantly. And that might help. Now, the one side effect I've heard is that some people who take minoxidil for hair loss, they experience leg swelling and water retention. And particularly that comes to the fore when they're on a plane sitting for a long period of time.
Yeah.
So if you're taking minoxidil for hair purposes, consider stopping, maybe 24 or 48 hours before you get in a plane. So you don't, because your feet swell on planes because you're sitting and there's lower pressure in the cabin and, that thing. So when it comes to finasteride, I discourage men from using it because it blocks a form of testosterone, the so-called bad testosterone that promotes baldness. But that form of, quote, bad testosterone plays a role in brain chemistry and brain function. And men who are deprived of the so-called bad testosterone, sometimes they experience mood problems and sometimes they experience libido problems.
Yeah.
And, when I warn men about this, I have to be particularly careful about that because there's a real potential for a nocebo effect. When you tell men that, if you take this, you might experience libido problems, it's definitely, they're going to start to think they have libido problems.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
It happens in a small subset of men, but I think more and more urologists are avoiding using that for sexual purposes, but also dermatologists are not that keen to use it for hair purposes.
Okay.
It shrinks the prostate. It promotes hair growth. You could also take Avodart sometimes for hair. Propecia is finasteride, which is a hair version of Proscar, which is a prostate drug. Instead, can you think of any other things? I mean, obviously you see people whose prime concern is hair and you go through kind of a drill with them.
Yeah, I do. First of all, they're already taking something like a hair supplement. They're taking a whole lot of biotin, which could really skew their thyroid results. We just had that happen recently. We found out somebody was overproducing thyroid hormone. What's going on? We found out he was taking 10,000 micrograms of biotin.
Yeah.
So you need to stop the biotin, at least a week before any kind of thyroid labs. But other things, people will start taking a hair supplement and nobody will have looked to see if they have enough ferritin, for example. If you have a ferritin of less than 70, you're really not going to support the health of your hair or hair regrowth, as well as thyroid. You need a ferritin of 90 or 100 to support those systems. You need your minerals. This is not to say that you are anemic. That's not what I mean. That would be the extreme case. You could be not anemic at all. Your hemoglobin, your hematocrit is fine. Everything is in the normal range, but you don't have enough iron in the closet. So you got to make sure that ferritin is up. And I see this a lot in my vegetarian and vegan clients who are eating like that for a long time and wondering, hey, why is my hair shedding? Well,
and protein also, protein availability is an issue. Yeah,
absolutely. I said, well, your body needs these critical minerals for all of its bodily essential functions. So it's saving up what little minerals you're getting from your diet to do that. So it now needs to look around your body and say, ooh, what can I cull?
Right.
Well, she doesn't need her hair.
Hair is kind of optional, right?
Exactly.
Exactly. What you need is you need an intact immune system. You don't want to steal protein from your heart, your
That's
central
your body
organs.
being smart.
Right.
It's your body being smart with what little minerals you're taking in dietarily. And that's why a lot of people, they go through a little awakening of being forced to reevaluate how they're eating and why. And so, and then the hair comes back. You can take all the supplements you want. If you don't have enough minerals to support it from your diet, that's a thing. Yeah, you're going to get some of the minerals from the supplement, but, not the way nature intended so much.
All right.
Yeah.
We have time for another question. Shall we take a stab at it?
Okay, let's see. This comes from Paul. Hi, Dr. Hoffman and Leyla. I hope all is well. I'm 71 years old. I have a healthy lifestyle following many of your recommendations, including diet and supplements. A few months ago, I was shocked when I woke up and looked in the mirror to shave and saw festoons.
What are festoons?
Above each cheek of the lower eyelids. Those are those bags on the upper
I never heard
cheeks.
that term.
Under the, festoon. Festoons. Above each cheek below my eyelids.
It's like you're festooned with festoons.
Yeah.
Wow.
Right? It sounds terrible. And it sounds dire.
Okay.
And my family doctor, who was not holistic, told me it's part of aging.
Well, wait a minute. So, I got to say that if that develops suddenly, there's a couple of things to be thinking about. Is that it could be a harbinger of kidney disease or congestive heart failure, because it's like a fluid accumulation.
Yeah.
Or it could be a manifestation of allergy. I remember, some occasions where I've had kind of sketchy Chinese food, like no MSG, but, I don't usually eat that stuff. But, it's in a pinch, I had to, grab some Chinese food. And my face blew up, and I could see the circles under my eyes. And this was temporary. So it could be a sign of food allergy. But yes, it could be age related, but why should they suddenly appear? I mean, the guy doesn't look in the mirror very much. I mean, is he does he live in a cave and then he went to a hotel room?
Right. No, not. And he says, FYI, I've been taking quercetin with vitamin C. I take collagen, cocoa powder, D, fish oil, whey, a multi, along with organic juices for years. No alcohol or drugs, in hope of avoiding aging skin. Why does it happen to the people who are doing all the right?
Yeah. Okay. So health, I got to repeat this again and again and again. Health is not entirely a merit system. It's partially a merit system. Stuff happens. And what happens is, frankly, the collagen weakens in your body, and the collagen provides elasticity and support to your skin. And these cross-links develop, and your skin sags. So hence wrinkles, hence, saggy bellies and breasts and you name it, body parts.
Yes.
And under eyes are particularly prone to that. And some people have that genetically. There's if you look at the photographs of your grandparents, they're like, they also had bags in there. This is like a susceptibility. Okay, so how do you fix that? I mean, there are many under eye formulations. One of our sponsors, Timeline, makes some things that have astringents in them. You can put tea bags on there. Tea is an astringent. Some coffee extract. I mean, various witch hazel. These are astringents. And another tip is take preparation H.
Yes.
You were going to say that.
Yes.
I beat you to the punch because you were about to blurt that out. But it shrinks hemorrhoids.
Yes.
So it
shrinks.
It shrinks.
It shrinks stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Don't get it in your eye, though, right?
Don't get it in your eye. Right. Be careful with that. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. So, and then the ultimate thing is if you are very concerned about it, there's a small operation that can be done by both eye doctors and dermatologists, and also cosmetic surgeons do what's called blepharoplasty.
Yeah. We've seen that done. I've seen that done in some of my clients. Very successful. They are so happy with the outcome.
It's very rejuvenating.
They feel better about themselves. I mean,
and it's not obvious. Good. It's kind of a little bit like a neck lift. You know, it people say, "Oh my goodness, you look so rested." Oh wow, you've been on vacation. You know, and they don't really know. Like you've had major radical cosmetic surgery. It's like a freshening up kind of thing.
Yes.
Now, you have to be careful with that surgery because if it's done too aggressively, you may have what's called lagophthalmos, which is the inability to close your eyes when you sleep at night and your eyes remain open. They get very dry. You can get corneal abrasions. I've seen that happen.
Yeah.
So don't get greedy about, a completely smooth.
Don't do that.
With too much tissue removal. You can have that kind of like wide-eyed look, like a startle look, like, deer in the headlights kind of like, right.
Oh my goodness.
I think if you look at, the Met Gala, or if you look at, the Oscars, you'll see some people with too aggressive plastic surgery.
Yes.
So,
and you could always tell.
Yeah. Oh my God. It's like,
type of procedure.
I sometimes do it like kind of as a pastime, like, with good plastic surgery. I just go to a place and I think, oh boy.
Let's see what's happening here.
Yeah.
Okay. A reminder to everyone, questions@drhoffman.net. That is questions@drhoffman.net. And please don't forget, you can shop hundreds of curated vetted supplements in Dr. Hoffman's full script dispensary. Go to drhoffmanstore.com. where he stocks only the highest quality supplements, some of which are very hard to find elsewhere. Through full script, you can access his custom protocols that combine products that he recommends to help you achieve your specific health goals. Buying through full script offers fast free shipping, optional refill reminders via text or email, with multiple payment options like Apple and Google Pay. It's safe, secure, includes world-class customer service. So remember, drhoffmanstore.com. That's drhoffmanstore.com.
Yeah, I have a shipment coming in because, I came back and I had to make some new vitamins and I ran out of a bunch of things.
There you go.
So, I expect a shipment anytime now.
It's great.
It's
great.
Get a notification
the customer service is tremendous.
On my apartment app. They notify me like, package waiting.
Terrific.
Good stuff. All right. Check out that article if you want to get a bit of a travelogue on my trip. And what was you wrote a recent article, very interesting on.
I wrote about nutrient deficiencies in mental health most recently, because May is mental health awareness month. So yeah.
Okay.
So again, the importance of looking out for those critical mineral deficiencies, as I mentioned, magnesium is one.
Oh, for
among
sure.
many.
For sure.
For example.
There's apropos, I know we're running along here, but there was an interesting article about choline as a nutrient whose inadequacy is associated with a higher risk of anxiety.
Oh, wow.
So, stock up on choline. You make sure you have your eggs. Soy is a source.
Yeah.
And fish is a source. But, consider something like PS, phosphatidylcholine. Phosphatidylserine or phosphatidylcholine PC. Because those are good brain nutrients. And pregnant moms, please take those things. Please take those things.
Yeah. Especially.
Good stuff. All right. Thanks, Leyla.
Anyway, thanks, everybody.
Thanks for joining us. Questions@drhoffman.net, place to send questions. And this is the weekly Q&A with Leyla. I want to thank you for listening to the Intelligent Medicine Podcast. Follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, or your favorite podcast app. and get new episodes automatically downloaded every weekday. And please give us a rating and review. It truly helps new people discover intelligent medicine. The Intelligent Medicine Podcast is for general informational purposes only and does not constitute the practice of medicine, nursing, or other professional healthcare services, including the giving of medical advice, and no doctor-patient relationship is formed. The use of information on this podcast or materials linked from this podcast is at the user's own risk. The content of this podcast is not intended to be a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Users should not disregard or delay in obtaining medical advice for any medical condition they may have and should seek the assistance of their healthcare professionals for any such conditions. Finally, please visit drhoffman.com and discover everything intelligent medicine has to offer, including frequently updated.
This is Leyla Muden, registered dietitian nutritionist. I maintain a private practice and see patients regularly. If you require a nutrition consult with me but live out of town, there's no need to travel to New York City. I have telephone and telehealth consultations with clients from all over the country. Please visit drhoffman.com for more information. And to set up an appointment, call 212-779-1744. That's 212-779-1744. I look forward to being a collaborator in your healthcare.